Alrighty. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll just make a start. We're just about on 7:10. Just before I do make a start, I'd just like to introduce Andrew Watson, Principal Andrew Watson, who will introduce our new principal for Term 2. So it's great to have my guest. So thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Lee. Good evening, everyone. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Save the best to last, is that right? Is that yeah, brilliant. Okay. Look, fantastic start to the year. The boys have been sensational, as they always have been through their journey to college. Before I do introduce Simon, I'm just plugging one of the usual things, the opening events of the year, and that's the Parent Association Sundowner. So please look out for it, come along. I think it's the 10th of March, Friday the 10th of March. And looking around, see faces that have been there before. It's a great night. If you haven't been, try to get there. If there are new people to Year 11 or the Mazenod community, try to encourage them to come along so they really get that warm welcome there too. Looking around from the Parent Association, I see Sue there, I see Michaela who's been there as well. So get along and support the Parent Association because it's their night and their sundowner there too. I'd like to introduce to you your new principal for Term 2, Mr. Simon Harvey.
Thanks, Andrew. I came along tonight on the invitation from Andrew just to have a listen. And each time I've gone to a year group, he's called me up to say something. But it is nice to be here and hear all of the wonderful things that are going on at Mazenod College, but also the opportunity to talk to a number of the parents. What can I offer to you as a Year 11 parent? Well, it's an exciting time. Year 11 into Year 12, and it all goes pretty quickly. And all I can offer from myself is to be there in support and hopefully continue what is a wonderful train called Mazenod College that supports your sons as they go through high school and ending with positive experiences and wonderful opportunities going forward. So I really do look forward to, as I said to, I think it was the Year 10s in here before, Andrew leaving and me coming in. I'm looking forward to joining the community. Of course, I know that there's opportunities for Andrew to be acknowledged because he's done some amazing things, and I'm looking forward to continuing that on where I can as a principal, but supporting staff like Liam. Thank you for the opportunity and enjoy this evening. And the Sunday, hope to be there.
Right. Thank you, Simon and Andrew. Good evening, everyone, and I really do thank you for coming along and showing great interest in your boys' senior school education. I'm sure if it's the first child you've had through Year 11, you're probably thinking, far out, it's actually here. I can't believe it's finally come that they're in Year 11 and 12 and embarking on that. What can be a very stressful, anxious, inducing time, but also a really exciting time for the boys and for yourselves. And I'm sure if it's not your first, you're probably thinking, here we go again, of all those things that do come along with senior school. So I do thank you for coming along tonight. So intentions for this evening, Mrs. Launa Ango is going to come up and have a chat to you just about courses of study and a few things related to sector. We will then discuss the significance of Year 11, I don't know if I've got Year 9 over there. Discuss the Pastoral Care, I'm stuck in Year 9. Discuss our Pastoral Care program for this year, how parents can support their son in senior school, and then answer any questions hopefully that you do have about Year 11 at Mazenod College. So, Liana, would you like to come up and have a chat?
So if I could just say at the outset, I've had some of your sons come and see me about course changes in the last week or so, and they've been an absolute delight to have a conversation. They've come in, they've asked the question, and I've given them the straight answer, a yes or no, and they've done the course changes with a heart that says, I'm willing to get on with this and move along. So I'm really have been impressed with the boys who have come in and had a chat with me. Can I just say that the course changes will actually shut off on Friday week, so that'll be on the 17th of February, can you believe it? Halfway through February. And the reason why we do that is we want the boys to settle into their courses and to continue on. And there is an opportunity to change pathways and change courses at the end of semester one if they discover that their first semester hasn't been the experience they expected it to be, and we'll have some counselling around that, and you will be involved in that, and we will change pathways as necessary. Year 11 is a time of flexibility. There's chance to move, there's chance to have a think about things. It's a time when the boys actually start to think about their pathways and aspirations. And I'll give you an example. Last year we had a number of boys who started on the Uni Direct pathway, so they chose 5 or 4 8R courses. And by the time they got to the end of term 2 and the exams, they realised that it wasn't the pathway for them. They were burning a lot of energy, and they were finding that it was conflicting with a lot of their co-curricular activities. And they said, yeah, but I really want another opportunity to get to university. So they applied to do our Curtin Uni Ready course. So the Curtin Uni Ready course, they move to a general pathway, they do a subject called Curtin Uni Ready. That plus a completion of the Cert 4 in business in year 12 means that they get an ATAR of 70, and they can get into select courses at Curtin University, Murdoch University, ECU. So there are other pathways. So it's not just about the courses that they've chosen, it's about the pathway that they are on. And we will have in the extended form classes some career sessions with Kylie Eden and Lauren Johnson. And if you haven't met them, they are a team. This is a team that will work to ensure that your son is given the best opportunity for workplace learning if they're on a general pathway, and for their vet courses if they're doing any TAFE courses off-site out of school. So really at the moment, the boys are sort of settling in, and some of them have realised, I don't know if you've had any conversations with them, but some of them have come to me and said, it's a lot of work, miss. It's a lot of work. Like, and how have you found it? Oh, you know, I did a couple of hours last night, I've never done that. It's alien. And I said, okay, and how do you think you can sustain it? Yeah, I think I can. And I think that's the question. If in their heart they can actually sustain that and balance that with a really good sporting life, or we've got some boys who are involved in the arts here, or they've got part-time jobs. A lot of them have part-time jobs. If they're able to balance that and really make that a rich and fulfilling time for themselves, it's a fantastic time. Year 11 is actually a really good time for them to realise where they're at. And we will help them with that. It's a team game, and Mr. Mallon, I know, is committed to making sure the boys will stay on the path. He will keep an eye on them. We will be having conversations, making sure that they're really doing what they need to do in order to be successful. So that's really important to remember, that it is a team game, and we know that you're part of that as well. And I know that some of you have already contacted me with questions about courses and about pathways and about concerns that you might have. You know your sons best. You know how they operate. You know where they burn their energy. You know what the pressure points are. You know that at certain times when they go really quiet and they don't seem to be engaging with you, they're probably experiencing a certain level of stress over the things that they have to get done. And you know that that's what boys do. They camouflage a lot. They don't want to cause any bother, but it's always good to open up that conversation. The way for you to know what's coming up for them is to get onto Sector, and if you haven't done it, if you haven't logged on or created a profile for yourself, now's the time to do that. So if you have a log on and you've forgotten your username and your password, you can flick me an email or give me a call and I'll reconnect you, or find a way to reconnect you. Because Sector is actually going to be the way for you to see what's coming up for them in assessments, know what's coming up in exams. There are lessons that you'll be able to access. Homework will be documented there, and any notices that need to come home will be on that dashboard. And I know with the rich co-curricular life that these boys have, there'll be lots of notices going out about bring your kit, this is the time we're meeting, this is when we're doing things. There are so many notices. And if you're across it, you can help them along the way. You can help them pack that sports bag or make sure they've got the information that they need, and have that conversation with them. Boys will forget things, don't they, Mr. Mann? They forget things. And Sector is the place where that information is stored. It's kind of the external memory for all of the stuff that's happening in school. So as much as possible, we'll put information there. You'll also get some notices of concern and commendation from teachers as well. There'll be notifications about missed assessments. All of that will come through an email, and it will also be there in the notices. So sector is the place to go. If you're unsure about something, you'll find the information there. I'm really excited to be working with your sons this year. As I said, it's a team game. My job is to make sure that academically they're on track to keep going, and I do checks on them regularly. And if a teacher gives me a target review and says this student is probably not working up to speed, I'll get your son in, we'll have a conversation. They might be just having a temporary wobble, or they might actually be saying, I'm struggling, I need to work out another way. Nothing's really set in stone in Year 11. In Year 12, it's a different story. So we really need to work out in this year what that pathway looks like. So if you've got any questions, if you've got any concerns, if there's anything that's cropping up, and you just might need clarity on something, and it might just take a conversation, call the classroom teacher, have a chat to them. Call the head of year, Mr. Mallon, he'll give you a scope. He has access to information about your son. He'll be able to give you a scope of what's happening, and also your teacher as well. As I said, we're all here to support your son and get him through the journey. It's a really exciting time. There's probably been the first flushes and flurries of enthusiasm. However, when that starts to, when there are pressure points, attend to that and pay attention to that and have the conversation. And if you're really worried, give me a call. Okay? Thanks very much.
Thank you. So as I said, I'm really excited to have your young men again. They've started really well, really positive, smiles on their faces, and they're really ready to go. There's been a lot of enthusiasm. So it's been fantastic to see. Just a quick reminder about communication. Strength's got a really good group of form teachers, as we always do. If there's anything particular you want to ask about form, feel free, or organisation in general, always feel free to contact form teachers. That is one of their roles. And particularly this year in Year 11, they're going to have a fairly significant role in the day-to-day interaction presentation of our Pastoral Care program, including some of the careers aspects which I'll go through in a little bit. And my role, I really do encourage you, every head of year we're sort of that conduit between the parents and the school for just any questions that you may have, particularly with this year. If you've got academic questions, you've got organisational questions, just general queries or concerns, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'll always get back to you as soon as I can, whether it's a phone call or an email. Just don't feel you have to leave things hanging or wait for your boy to tell me, because often they don't like to talk about things when they come to school. So please don't hesitate to contact me. However, if there is a real specific academic question that you have, and you probably will have some this year, feel free to contact either the head of the learning area, the head of department as we used to call it, or the teacher, obviously. Just with the teacher, obviously, the teacher on a full load, teaching 5 classes a day, it may take a bit longer to get back to you, but if you'd rather me direct questions to them, I'd be more than welcome to. So please keep the communication lines open for your sons. So, your boys in Year 11, from day one, our message from day one was that they are now on a path to ensure that they leave school with something that's valuable. Obviously, graduating, getting that way certificate is our minimum standard that we want for the boys. But really, ideally, and what we have had really great success with over the last few years is getting all boys certs, which they have to get these days if they're not doing ATAR. We have a number of boys leaving to directly get into apprenticeships or TAFE. And obviously we have success for our boys who are in an ATAR pathway. So the old days of ATAR and really not much as it used to be with the old general course of study, it is long gone. Boys, all of them are in something that is worthwhile and is going to get them somewhere. They're going to notice a significant change in the school day. The workload from now, regardless of what course of study they're in, is much faster paced. More homework, there's more study, there's more pressure, and the focus is always going to be, the discussion is always going to be on, are you actually achieving your best? Is it going to result in what you want at the end of Year 12? And they're going to want to be treated like adults, and they will be treated like adults by the teachers. And there is that change in relationship with boys when they get to senior school. It's something that teachers love to be able to do, as long as they are obviously acting like adults. And the boys know what my expectations on Mazenod then are, and I'll go through a review of those in a second. So our goals for this year is to obviously support and assist their transition to senior school. And even though we say year 10 is senior school, in terms of the timetable, in terms of what it feels like, it certainly still feels like a lower school. Part of their high school, part of their Mazenod junior. Senior school really is, and everything is dictated by SCARSA or other institutions in terms of the expectations. It is a big change. As Leanna said, ensuring you're in the correct academic pathway. It can be a hard conversation with the girls at times. Often messages from parents are conflicting with what we're seeing as well. There is still a belief that they should be doing ATAR, this is what I did. It's certainly not the case these days, as I said, that all pathways are legitimate, genuine, and will get boys into something that they want to get into. I keep saying that, it's really important boys are actually enjoying what they're doing. Obviously succeeding, they're enjoying the courses or the course of study that they're doing. I don't think we're going to do anything right if we don't get the boys' wellbeing and mental health correct and their emotional needs. We have a really good support network for the boys. Obviously myself, they know my door's always open. Their form teacher, they have great relationships with individual classroom teachers. And our senior school psychologist, James Rogerson's right next door to my office. He's a young guy, he's actually an old boy as well. He's very welcoming, and he's seen a lot of our boys. Not just the boys that have specific diagnoses. The guy is the young man who might just be a bit stressed out, a bit confused about the way they're feeling about things. Whatever it may be, they're more than welcome to access support through James or obviously. We want to celebrate, recognise the personal identity of the boys, help them understand their strengths and weaknesses, obviously continue to develop their self-management and their resilience. They might think they're adults now, they're not going to do anything wrong. They do a fair bit wrong, believe it or not, day to day, some more than others. But really what it's all about is showing accountability, picking themselves up, learning from those mistakes, and treating that experience like a young adult. That's really what our message is. And at the end of the day, it's about being the best men that they could be, living up to the values that the school espouses every day. Importantly, though, we want to be catering for all students. So we've got our courses of study here that I know you're aware of from last year. Our uni prep, which is ATA, since the early 90s, we all know that the boys' results at the end of year 11 do not affect our ATA. So the boys know that. However, what the boys in ATAR courses in year 11 really need to understand is that this is the year to develop study skills, study habits, work routines, and really understand whether they're capable of doing those particular ATAR courses. Untitled Chapter, human biology, if the boy struggles in human biology in year 11, he's probably going to struggle in year 12. They're the kinds of conversations we'll have to have. Obviously, if he hasn't tried, that's another conversation. But year 11 ATAR really determine whether they enjoy it and whether they're going to be able to succeed to achieve an ATAR that's going to get them somewhere. And really, the sad reality is these days, the core ATAR is probably the worst thing they can leave with now. Because if they're in a work ready or a vet and cert courses, those boys are leaving with certificate, 3s and 4s, potentially going straight into TAFE, potentially entering into apprenticeships. So there are fantastic opportunities for the guys, whether it be ATAR or whether it be our uni ready and our work ready program. That's not to say they're easy. The old general course of study, which there was that perception that they could do anything, didn't have to work hard, is again long gone. Very specific requirements for the cert courses and a lot of that's regulated by various institutions that we work through and through TAFE. So it's all courses are rigorous. And going to get boys something at the end of year 12. And I do want to recognise a group of boys that I'm sure that we've got that don't particularly want to be a Mazenod and unintentionally graduate at the end of year 12 for various reasons. Probably guys who would have left at the end of year 10 as they used to be able to, it was a bit easier, not as easy these days. we want to help them do that if that's what they wish to do, and obviously with your support, if they want to go to work or get an apprenticeship prior to the interview time, we'll help them with that. You know, having Mazenod on the CV is a win for them, but having a written reference from us saying that they worked hard, that they're diligent, that they're respectful is again something I'd love to be able to give boys, but obviously they've got to be buying into what they're trying to do, rather than what we see at times, oh, I'm not there, I'm not here, or I'll be this. So we really want to help those guys if that's the plan, and that's a legitimate plan as well. And we had a lot of, we had quite a few year 11s last year, get into apprenticeships at the end of year 11 based on their work experience and things. So it is an option for those few guys who may wish to go down that path. So, on my year assembly on the first week, I just reiterated my core pastoral message to the boys. And number one is always respect for themselves, and more than any other year for them, it's really having accountability and integrity, being open to conversations about that, and having resilience to understand what their weaknesses are, and when they're not working on that, and when they're not actually trying to achieve the best and putting change in. That's really all we can expect. To have that growth mindset, not fixed mindset. And this morning, with the whole cohort, I said to the boys, it really is a fresh start as well. And I know the guys well from year 9, and I know a few of them struggled in year 9, and I know a few of them struggled in year 10 as well. It's normal, that's the biology of the teenage years, but I said it is a fresh start for them now. There's no hang-ups from year 9 and 10 or wherever it was. This is now the course of study they've chosen directly related to what they're hopefully going to achieve that, what they're going to do post-school. So it is a fresh start, but just got to come with that growth mindset that it is different and it is all everything we're doing is for them. Taking healthy risks and obviously striving for personal excellence at all times. My second point is obviously respect for others. Message we say every year. It's a place of learning more than any other year. They do not have a right to be negatively affecting their peers' ability to learn in class. At the end of the day, they may be affecting their peers' ability to be achieving at their best at the end of year 12, So we will be pulling them up for that. They know I watch from like a hawk, so there'll always be a conversation at least if I hear reports from teachers that they're not doing the right thing. Obviously, a bullying and harassment message. You know, they don't want to be treated as young adults, and they have to treat as young adults. And we will be hammering that hard if it occurs. But when the line is blurred, there's a banter, as we all know. So it's just a bit of just a joke, just banter. But I can assure you, we will be watching that, monitoring it and acting on it as best we can. And also respect the staff. One of the boys struggle with at times, but they will be expected to be respectful to the adults who are teaching them as young adults themselves. And they will be pulled up for that. And they're not going to get on with every teacher. We know that. Just like we don't get on with everyone we interact with, but they've got to show that respect, and that's really what we are from. And the final message is obviously respecting the college. Being proud makes not men. They're lucky that comes from school like us. So presenting themselves with pride and just buying into the message that we have and the values of the school. Wearing the uniform properly, including their hair, and I need to help with that one. It's always an hassle as they get older. I know it's up to you as well. Just taking the hairdresser. And participate in the life of the college as best they can. Love to see year 11s jumping into what we provide. And they're never going to be in another place that offers so much all the time, as you know, as for the next 2 years, year 11 and 12, that's it. You know, you're never at a place where you've got the arts and so much sport, so many things on offer. So if they can really get involved in all that this year and next year, it'd be really good to see. And I've been through most of those general things: classroom attitude, manners and demeanour. It's a big one. At the end of every day, I'll go up to the locker and take a bite of the boys. Be surprised, I think they think I'm spying on them and just trying to bust kids. So, hide their head and try to run past me, which is so I'm going to expect just be a little bit human, make eye contact with me at least as you walk past. So just those little things that we're going to expect from punctuality, organisation, presentation, as I said, participate in the life of the college, and obviously your assistance with that would be fantastic. So regarding communication, I think the best thing is for you to check sector as regularly as you can. The old days of things being shoved down in the bags and notes at the back of the diaries that we'd have when I first started, never been checked. It's hard to put together later stuff. This is what I'm saying. So it's all just going to be on sector there. And depending on what it is, you'll get a note, a pop-up saying that it is a homework, like training class, whatever it is, and lots of positive things. So please check sector as regularly as you can. As I said, emails and calls to the teachers, and we are here to help. So me, former teachers, the heads of whatever you're at, and obviously the boys, the individual classroom teachers, just please make sure you're communicating whenever you feel you need to. So just a few things regarding their day-to-day operation. So this is one of the year 11 students' timetable. He's doing 5 ATAR subjects, which is fairly common at the moment for the boys doing ATAR. Often we get quite a few boys removing one and going for 4 ATAR. So unless they really need 5, they don't, as long as they're comfortable with 4. That's fine. Obviously, regardless of what course of study they're in though, they'll see every subject every day. So it's quite a rigorous course of study. You may be aware, you're probably aware of the changes to the timetable. I'll talk about why we've done that. So our all extended form of Friday has moved to Tuesdays. So it's given us 45 minutes rather than half an hour. The big reason for it was actually year 11s and 12s missing so much pastoral care due to TAFE, which is great. A lot of boys are out on Thursdays and Fridays due to the TAFE studies. So we essentially had to move it. But we've now in the position of 15 minutes to better presentations, in particular guest speakers, getting them in for a proper session rather than a real what very half an hour. We still have a Thursday afternoon, which is a little bit shorter, more for housekeeping stuff. So it is a rigorous timetable. It is a long day for the guys, but they have their breaks and they've got good classes, and as I said, the classes they've chosen, and there is time for them to change if they're not too happy with the things that they're actually in. Now regarding homework, assessments and study in Year 12, it's really quite hard to put a number on these things. Depending on the course of study, depending on the day, you probably expect 1 to 2 hours of homework. So I imagine they would be, particularly if you're doing an 8-hour course of study, they'll certainly be getting some every day. There has been a shift in what homework is over the last couple of years, and Neil has been talking about it. So you may see more study given, more pre-reading, with the classroom and things like that. There's really more that pre-reading, just coming prepared for the next day. So if you do have a look on sector, you see that homework that says things like study, prepare, or pre-read, or read this chapter. That is legitimate homework as well, if it's been set. So things are starting to change in that homework space. The number of and type of assessments is also going to be very dependent on the subject and scarce requirements. So for example, in the sciences, we're beginning a transition to have 8 assessments only, including the 2 external exams. So only 6 internal assessments for the whole year, compared to traditionally 9 and 12, including the exams, or 14. So it's a big change for us as well. I think it's great. I think it's going to be less pressure, just preparing tests and assessments all the time. Other subjects that haven't been required to start that transition yet. So it really depends, but a lot of the courses will probably be 8, or 10, just starting the transition from the normal 12 down to the 8. It does depend on the course. Obviously, our year-ready boys and general students will vet and different externally set tasks throughout the year to make sure that they're meeting those requirements, and also their work experience as well during the exam times in the middle and the end of the year. And what we do expect from all boys, and we say from Year 7 really, particularly this year, is to establish a study routine. Again, what works for them is something they're going to have to find. A lot of studies show that study at the end of the week after you've learned it, giving it a week to soak in, and then just revising, reading, or jotting down things and brainstorm works. Some teachers will tell them just read over it every night. This year is about finding something that works for them, rather than leaving it to or when they're trying to complete their TAFE and all their things at the end of Year 12 as well. So again, using Year 11 as that way to develop really good study habits and so they can achieve in Year 12 to the best of their ability. Now on sector, if you haven't looked, this is just a real brief sample of one of my sections, my bio class. So I really encourage you to get on there. So you will see the boys' day, essentially. Brief lesson plans, not much, and that's just to minimise the workload obviously for teachers. But to give you guys an idea of what's happening. So for example, if I do some topic, what the learning intention is, what the success criteria are, a few points we've told the staff a minimum of three, I think. So a brief lesson plan, any resources, that's the PowerPoint there, and you can see the homework. So if they're telling you they're not getting there, you can jump on there and have them. So the staff are expected to put the homework in that, regardless of whether they're using sector or not. Some staff are still transitioning from OneNote to use, so they're putting their lesson plans in OneNote, which is a bit hard for you to check, but eventually everything will come over to this. And I'm pretty fairly certain the vast majority of the staff use this. It's easy for staff to use anyway. Obviously, the school's investing in sector. So if you can, have a look at that every day. Also on there are assessments coming up. Figure shows you ones within the next fortnight popping up. And obviously the course also study subjects from sector as well, regardless of whether the teachers are using the lesson plan. So please have a look on there. Regarding pastoral care, all that is here, we're here because we really value this. We don't get pastoral care right and voice the value and help them show accountability and help them become the best young men they can be. All of that academic stuff is not going to work as well for them. So we've got a fairly comprehensive pastoral care program in Year 11. I emailed it out to parents last week. But it's delivered on Tuesday mornings, which is now our extended form of Thursday. So what we have is the things made by me in Year 11 team, so our own PowerPoints, our own worksheets, and that also includes year assemblies. We get staff to do right style conversations, informal time, things like that, sort of your less formal stuff. We'll be doing character strengths, which is something the boys have been doing since probably year 8 when we introduced it. I'll talk about our career sessions, a really exciting program that highly eaten in particular to Maine for the boys, and our compulsory program, which is the Keeping Safe Child Safe curriculum. That's something every student in the Catholic sector has to complete in different parts of the school. So it's also done in the academic subjects in lower school. It's only done for us in pastoral time in Year 11 and 12. So this is just our pastoral program for term 1 and 2. And as you can see, there's something on in each of the times. The career sessions, I'll just start off with that. Kylie Egan has created, as I said, a very comprehensive careers program for some with advice on how they can apply for jobs, job interviews. We've got guest speakers from a whole variety of fields coming out at different times of the year. Coming out again, I know they did that last year. In Year 10, the unions will be coming out to talk to the boys. We've got old boys coming out to talk about how they've gone immediately post-school, so we'll get some boys who just left, and then obviously as the years go on, get some different age groups come through. So it's a really great program that Collie's made for the guys. CV writing, a whole range of different things that boys will be exposed to. So their first session's in week 3, and next Tuesday, and she has a guest speaker coming out straight away to talk to the beginners and all that. So yeah, great thing she's got. The green are compulsory Keeping Safe curriculum things, so you'll notice they're obviously much heavier as we go through Year 11 and 12. So talking about positive psychology, but manipulation and coercion, particularly online, is a big online focus, which is incredibly important because it's still making many mistakes. Many boys make mistakes online, with their phone, their laptop, whatever it is. So it's a very important message. Privacy online, health and safety, networks of protection, interventional school rules, things like that. We've got Zero to Hero coming out, so everything in red, guest speakers, including James, a psychologist, so he's going to talk about a few things, so conflict resolution being one of them. He's going to talk about health, nutrition, exercise and sleep, importance to the boys, and study skills, live presentation, a whole variety of things. There's a lot that we're covering in the time. Said we've got cyberbullying, sexting, sexual consent, digital reputation, understanding anxiety, and a few other bits and pieces there. So it's we're expecting the boys to engage with it as best they can in those sessions. We notice we've also got house competitions at badminton and things like that throughout the term as well that we'll do during that time. Character strength, I'm just aware at the time, I'll just run through some of these things. I know you're aware of that. It's sort of an overarching pastoral message that we have, as I said, our Keeping Safe curriculum. And just finally, just some common questions which some people are probably going to answer, just to finish up. So leadership, in term 3 this year, the boys who wish to will go to a leadership camp, and from that leadership camp we select the prefects and house captains for 11 and 12. So this school is a really comprehensive leadership program. It's certainly not a kids' vote and then the principal picks them. It really is a proper, legitimate process. There's an application, account, interviews, and the principal. Really make sure we've got a good mix of guys in our student leadership body. Assessment policy, I'll just look at some family holidays and absences. The boys are away for family holiday, sickness, the boys, and they're missing an assessment, boys will likely get 0. So we really need and that's scars and guidelines. So removing the boys for holidays and other things like that is quite a risky move in year 11 and 12. So if that is happening, I understand there are things that happen. Please give enough notice and let young Rango and myself know, and then we can have a chat to driving and parking, boys can't drive to school until term 4. I know a lot of them will be wanting to. They can start to get their licence towards the end of the year. It's just a logistical thing. We don't have that enough room for the year 12, so we can't have year 11s parking on the campus either. If they choose to park around the college grounds, the neighbours will complain, they'll probably get a fine for the campus. So really is a situation where it's not a good idea to be driving year 11 until we've got the room and talk at the end of term. Work experience will be around, they will be getting some information about that very soon. Lauren Johnson, a very close coordinator, that's absolutely amazing job. So they'll be getting lots of info on that. That runs during the exam time. And exams, no one's stressing out too much, it's still weeks away. They are week 5 and 6 in term 2, and then at the end of term. They will be the first round of 3-hour exams that they've sat. It's going to be a stressful time, it's as simple as that for all of them. But we'll help manage that. We've got lots of seminars, we've got elevated education coming out to talk about study technique. We'll provide them with study opportunities in pastoral care time. So there's lots of helpful. And just wrapping up, I know I'm at my time. Just as parents, to really help boys through what is a tough year and a stressful year for them. Obviously, encouragement and praise, and even when one of those tests doesn't go right, talk about, help them show that accountability, talk about where they're improving and how they can improve. Even though they're not year 9s and 10s anymore, they probably don't want to talk to you too much a lot of the time. So obviously give them space when they do need it, and we know that the teenage boys certainly do need their space at times. Please allow them to accept consequences. If they've been treated unfairly by a teacher, I'm happy to jump in there and help them out, as I do at times. With that, usually what they've been given as a consequence if they start up is usually pretty fair, I think. So please allow him to accept the consequences that he does receive. So obviously, feel free to have a chat to him, but generally they're pretty fair. As I said, check sector as much as you can. Talk to us as much as you like. Please encourage routine and positive study from. He's sitting on his phone all the time. Don't feel the only parent taking the mobile phone off them. We encourage you to take their mobile phones off them. That's the legitimate and fair restrictions around screen time. Many parents take the phones off the boys when they go to sleep. They really look at their life on their mobile phone. certainly a conversation that probably needs to be had. Please encourage them to continue their extracurricular activities. We've got a lot of guys saying, I'm getting up my footy and focusing on the maths, and it's really not going to encourage mental health. So they've got to get balance. They can't be giving up everything that they love to do, including the video games, and there's time for all that. You've got to maintain balance, and it can be difficult, but giving up all the fun stuff is certainly not the answer. It may be a conversation about removing one of the ASR subjects, for example, if they are struggling. Encouraging the growth mindset, as I said. Please continue to support the college with the high expectations that we have. We do have those high expectations, as we know. As I said, please communicate with the boys. No, I've got an open door policy. Most of them feel pretty comfortable to talk to me. Please feel. That's fine. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. I really do thank you for coming tonight. And feel free to hang around and any questions.